as a child when I was quite young. I was allowed to go anywhere, and I really liked the woods.
My father died when I was 8. One of the things he told me, Ann, there's no such word as can't. You are able to do anything you want to do.
All 3 of our children were born in Philadelphia. So Ann stayed home and took care of the children. And I taught, and then was a reading consultant for the school, or for the Chestnut Hill Academy. And then I became head of the lower school, and then was selected to go to Nashville as the headmaster of a school. We had always had a farm. Once we went to Nashville, one of the first things we did was buy land. It had a cabin on it, that's all. And then we sold that and bought another farm, and that did have a house and barn on it. And we had that for several years, and then we bought the place, the Newton Cannon farm, and we were restoring that farmhouse. So we'd had farming experiences, but really not until the last farm did we bought a few cows, and we had but as I say, people our age were just more exposed the way, I suppose today children are exposed to the mall. Well, we didn't have, as Ann said, we didn't have malls, but we had farms around, and so you just knew about them.
Anyhow, but I had decided I really wanted sheep, and so when we moved to New York State, that was the time we bought a farm up there, and that was the time to get sheep. And the vet who we went to with our dog happened to raise Dorset sheep. And he said, well, I can fix you up with some lambs. And so we bought 4 little ewe lambs from him. Addie, Barney, Clemmy, and Daphne. And I had a Jeep, not a little older, but didn't look unlike the one we have now. And we put those little sheep, and I went to pick them up, and we put those little lambs in the back, and their little 4 little faces were looking right out that back window. I can still see. Absolutely the cutest darn thing. And I took them home to our farm, and those were our first sheep.
Well, and as we were talking about what we wanted to do from then on, our children were all through school and married and that kind of thing. Our oldest daughter and her husband came to us and said, you know, we're starting our family and would like to have a large family, and we'd like to live on a farm. How about if we get together and buy a farm? So that, I think, spurred us on to say, hey, maybe this could work. And so we then decided to, work it out. And so we bought this farm together. Eventually we divided it so that we could put our portion of it under easement, but basically we own the farm together.
If you're an educator and you're dealing with these things all the time, you realize the value of preserving farmland, and so that people can learn. I mean, as Ron said, when we grew up, everybody knew somebody who lived on a farm. And I mean, we hear that all the time from people who come here on tours, and parents who come with children. My children have never been on a farm before, or, that kind of thing. School groups, and the teacher will say, there are several children here who have never seen a farm animal, up close. I mean, other than on TV or pictures.
Then I think as far as our personal commitment is concerned, we talked about, we're very fortunate. We have 3 children. Like Ann's mother, and talking about college, and my parents talked the same way, that yes, of course you're going, and that's what you're going to do, and we thought that's what you did, so we went. Now, I'm not sure we knew why, and it did take a while before we got that worked out, but anyway, we went. And we told our children that when you grow up and when you go to college, then you'll be able to find a way to contribute to the world and so forth. And we told them that we would finance their education, and we paid for their weddings, and then they're on their own. So we didn't have to sit around thinking, oh, don't order a second ice cream because you've got to save money to leave to the children. They're on their own, and our children have been on their own and are on their own, and what we do with what we have is really our decision. We keep them informed, but I don't think there's any feeling about, oh, there goes the inheritance kind of thing. Because there is probably, although I question it, but there is probably a loss of estate when you put money in for an easement. I think probably if you live long enough, that a property like this with an easement is going to be worth so much that it's going to be hard to complain about the value of it. And somehow I don't want to see a big box store built where this farm is. And so that's what we talked about and decided let's see if we can't do it. The long days. We've just completed lambing season, and you know, the last check is at 10 o'clock at night, and you're tired and you're just hoping some ewe is not down there with a lamb being born backwards or upside down or whatever, because it's a long, hard process right then. We're fortunate that for whatever reason, things have worked out, and part of it was this putting the farm under easement, that we can afford to do what we're doing.
But somewhere there is a commitment to pass on how animals should be raised, and where people can come here and see that, and then see the products that you can get from it, and you know, taste the lamb and realize that it in fact it's a lot different than grocery store, and connect. You know, I think I see us providing a way for people to connect to the farm, to farming, and to this farm. And I think we're the perfect ones to do it. And I think because we want to have the physical farm, I just feel that there's some way to pull this together. I think the Land Conservancy connection with us has been a big benefit, and I want people to also understand that these things can fall into place and benefit a lot of people in the process. I think we get so, in today's world, we get so removed from everybody. You know, you don't know people, you don't, everything is done with a gadget, and You need to know people and be able to come in and give them a hug